No one tells you this, but there's a much stronger version of you waiting to be born. A version that wakes up with purpose, learns faster, refuses to give up when life gets hard, and keeps moving forward even when no one believes in you. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for something outside themselves to change: their job, their finances, their opportunities, their circumstances. But the greatest transformations never begin on the outside. They begin the moment you decide to train your own mind, shape your own character, and become a little better every single day. Because no one becomes extraordinary by accident. You are not born disciplined. You are not born wise. You are not born strong. You build yourself, one choice at a time, one habit at a time, one day at a time. Marcus Aurelius understood this. Even as the most powerful man of his time, he never believed that power alone was enough to shape a great human being. Every day he returned to himself. He wrote, reflected, corrected his own thoughts, and reminded himself that the greatest victory would never be conquering new lands, but mastering his own mind. It was that daily training that gave him serenity when the world seemed to be falling apart, clarity when everyone else was lost, and courage when running away seemed like the easiest choice. And that same ability to transform yourself exists within you. In this video, I've brought together principles that can strengthen your mind, expand your knowledge, and develop a character that remains unshaken in the face of adversity. These are not ideas to admire. They are practices to live by. Because when you commit to becoming better every day, there comes a point when people see someone different, but the person who truly changed was you, little by little. If you're ready to begin this transformation, leave a comment saying, "Today I choose to grow," because your future will not be determined by the talent you were given, but by the person you choose to train every single day. Let's begin. Action 1. An unshakable mind is not born, it is built. Stop just for a second before you keep listening to me and answer one question for yourself, honestly, and no one needs to know the answer but you. When was the last time you truly learned something? Not something you saw on social media, not a news story you forgot the next day. I mean, really learned something, the kind that changes the way you see the world forever. If that question stung a little, stay with this video because that's exactly what we're about to talk about. You are holding the greatest asset you have right now. It isn't money, it isn't an inheritance, it isn't luck, it isn't knowing the right people or being in the right place at the right time. It's your mind, and it governs everything else. If it isn't working well, nothing else will. But think about how absurd this is. It's the only tool you'll use every single day for the rest of your life. In every decision, every conversation, every opportunity that comes knocking. And yet it's the one tool no one ever taught you how to sharpen. You learned how to take care of your car, your phone, your appearance, your career, but for decades you've carried the most powerful thing you own exactly the way it came out of the box, with no maintenance, no upgrades, not even a single day of real care. That isn't your fault, no one ever told you. You were trained to memorize information and pass tests, not to think. Trained to follow a schedule, not to build your own reasoning. You did exactly what was expected of you, so don't confuse one thing with another. If your mind has been asleep, that says nothing about your potential. It only means it has never truly been called into action. And here's the part that changes everything. The day you call on it, it answers. It always answers. Because this is the most liberating truth about the human mind. It doesn't come with an expiration date. You might be 40, 50, or 60 years old. You may have stopped studying as a teenager. You may be convinced you've missed your chance. But you haven't. Your brain physically rewires itself every time you learn something new, and that remains true until the very last day of your life. There is no age when it's too late to become stronger on the inside. There is only the day you decide to begin, and all the days you chose to put that decision off. Now realize what's really at stake. Everything you have on the outside can be taken away from you. Your job could disappear tomorrow morning. Your money could vanish in a crisis you didn't create. Doors can close without warning and without explanation. But what you build inside your own mind is the only property no one can break into, no one can seize, and no one can steal. Educating your mind isn't about collecting impressive facts to show off at a dinner party. It's about building an inner wealth that stays with you wherever life takes you, especially on the day you lose everything else and have to start over from scratch. The Stoics called it the only fortress that could never be conquered. Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by war and betrayal, wrote to himself that no one could enter his mind without his permission, that within it stood a fortress no army could ever breach. It wasn't just a beautiful metaphor. It was literally what kept him standing while the world around him was falling apart. And Epictetus proved it through his own life. He spent years as the legal property of another man. In chains, he studied, he reflected, he chose. His body belonged to someone else. His mind never did. Now think about that for a moment. If a man who was enslaved, with no freedom, no rights, and nothing to his name, could build a fortress within himself, then what exactly is stopping you today? The entire body of human knowledge fits inside the device you're holding right now. Books that people gave their lives to write, ideas that took centuries to mature. It's all there, just one tap away, completely free. You are not behind anyone. You are standing in front of the greatest opportunity any generation in human history has ever had. And all it asks of you is 1 hour of your day used with intention, instead of letting it slip through your fingers without even noticing it was gone. And it doesn't have to be extraordinary. It has to be consistent. 10 pages a day become more than 10 books a year. 30 minutes of real study with your phone in another room are worth more than an entire afternoon spent pretending to learn. An honest question is worth more than 1,000 memorized answers. The growth of the mind is subtle, almost invisible up close, but over time, it is unstoppable. You won't notice much difference by Tuesday. You'll notice it a year from now, when you realize you understand things that once confused you and solve problems that once left you stuck. And you'll look back without being able to point to the exact day you became a different person. And that's when your entire life begins to shift. Because when your mind grows, it doesn't grow alone. It pulls everything else up with it. Opportunities you never noticed suddenly become obvious. They were always there. You just didn't have the eyes to see them. Conversations where you used to stay quiet become the ones you lead. Fear begins to shrink, not because the world became smaller, but because you became bigger within it. Educating your mind is the investment with the greatest return you'll ever make. And it's the only one that doesn't require anyone else's permission. So start today, and start small. Choose a book, a course, a subject that has always called to you, but you've never had the courage to face. Then take the very first step today. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, not when life finally settles down. Today, because 5 years from now you'll exist either way. Those 5 years are going to pass whether you act or not. The only question that matters is this: who will be the person that arrives on the other side? The same person you are today, or someone who spent those 5 years quietly building themselves, one day at a time? That choice is entirely yours, and it doesn't begin tomorrow. It begins in the very next minute of your day. Use it. Action 2. Train your body. Let me guess something about your day yesterday. At some point, maybe in the afternoon, maybe right after lunch, you felt that heaviness. That feeling like your body was pulling you down, and you thought, not today. Today I need to rest. I'll start tomorrow. Then tomorrow you felt it again. I'm not going to tell you that you're lazy. You're not. What I am going to tell you is that you've been reading the signal wrong for years, and no one ever explained it to you. Millions of people today believe they're exhausted, drained, with no energy for anything. But what almost no one realizes is how much the body and the mind are the same force moving in different directions. You think you need rest, when what you really need is movement. You think you've run out of strength, when what you're actually missing is the very effort that would create that strength. Think about how strange that is. The more you stop, the more tired you become. The more time you spend lying down, the less you want to get up. It's a trap that tightens itself, and the worst part is that it feels completely logical from the inside. It feels like you're protecting yourself. You're not protecting yourself. You're shutting yourself down. The human body wasn't designed to conserve energy by staying still. It was designed to produce energy through movement. And when you spend months, sometimes years, asking nothing of it, it simply follows your lead. One by one, it begins shutting down the engines you've stopped using. It's not punishing you. It's saving what you've shown it you no longer need. And here's the part almost no one sees, that shutdown never stays in the body alone. The person who drags themselves through the house also drags their thoughts. The energy you don't have to climb a flight of stairs is the very same energy you don't have to start that project, to study again, or to have that conversation you've been putting off for the last 3 months. Because there isn't one battery for your body and another for your life. It's the same battery, and there's only one way to recharge it: by using it. The Stoics understood this long before science confirmed it. To them, the body and the soul weren't separate territories. They were the same training ground. Musonius Rufus, Epictetus' teacher, said that anyone who wants to cultivate virtue must train the body alongside the mind, because the soul depends on the body in everything it does. Seneca wrote about his long walks, his cold baths, about deliberately putting his body through discomfort so his mind would learn not to run from it. It wasn't vanity. It wasn't about appearance. It was character training. They understood something we've forgotten. When you run from physical effort without realizing it, you begin running from every kind of effort. Avoidance becomes a reflex, and reflex becomes personality. Because your body is the one place where discipline refuses to accept a lie. Think about that for a moment. You can fool everyone about who you are. You can tell beautiful stories about what you're going to do, about what you're about to start, about the season of life you're in. Words will accept anything. But when it's time to get out of bed and step outside into the cold, either you did it or you didn't. There is no middle ground. No intention counts. No explanation can make up for a workout that never happened. And that's exactly why your body is the best place in the world to build the person you want to become. There, and maybe only there, the truth about who you are shows up every single day, with no defenses and no room for beautiful stories. And when you begin demanding more from your body, something strange starts happening in your mind. You discover that the limit you thought was permanent was only the first warning. That there was far more road beyond it than you ever imagined. That point where you always stopped wasn't the end of your ability. It was simply the place where you learned to quit. You learn in your muscles, not just in theory, that pain isn't a signal to stop. That discomfort passes, that you're capable of far more than you ever swore you could handle. And your brain, which has been quietly watching all of this, starts applying that lesson to places that have nothing to do with exercise. At work, in difficult conversations, on the days when life seems to hit you from every direction at once, you don't just become physically stronger, you become much harder to knock down. And there's something else that almost no one talks about. Your body is the only part of you that always responds. People can disappoint you. The market can slam doors in your face without warning. Luck can turn its back on you in the very year you needed it most. But your body is fair to the core. It gives you back exactly what you invest in it, with no delays, no favoritism, and no injustice. Do the work, and it changes. Every single time. When you consistently do the work, your body responds in some way, even if the progress is slower or different from what you expected. And in a life filled with things you can't control, having one place where effort is never wasted is no small thing. It's where you relearn through experience that your actions matter. And once you relearn that through your body, you begin believing it in every other area of your life. So stop waiting for energy to arrive before you move. That lie has already cost you years, maybe even a decade. Energy doesn't come first. It's the result. Move first. Feel it afterward. Never the other way around. Get up tomorrow, even if you don't feel like it. Even if you're tired. Even if you think it isn't worth it. And that one day won't make any difference. Then spend 20 minutes doing something. Go for a walk, climb some stairs, anything. Don't do it for your body. Do it for what it teaches your mind, that you're the kind of person who keeps the promises they make to themselves. Because the day you stop negotiating with yourself and simply go, you'll discover something that changes the rest of your life. Fatigue was never the real problem. The real problem was a body waiting for permission to become what it had always been capable of becoming. Get up. Your body has been ready for years. The only one it was waiting for was you. Action 3. Make just one commitment. Be better than you were yesterday. I want you to think about someone you've known for a long time. Someone you haven't seen in years. An old friend, a cousin, a former co-worker. And when you finally saw them again, something caught you off guard. Because they were exactly the same. The same complaints. The same plans that never got off the ground. The same sentence about next year. Time passed them by and left no trace. Now here's the question no one likes to ask. What if someone thinks the same thing about you the next time they see you? This isn't an accusation, it's a warning, because that's the most frightening thing about standing still. It doesn't hurt. There is no alarm, no symptom, no single day when you suddenly realize it. You just end up there. And the opposite is true as well. If today, right now, you make a real commitment to get a little better every day, your story becomes something entirely different. Not similar to the one you're living today. Different. And the most remarkable part is that it doesn't require a heroic act. It doesn't require superhuman willpower. It doesn't require becoming a disciplined person overnight. It only requires that you stop negotiating with yourself every morning. Because that's where most lives are decided. Not in the big decisions, but in the small negotiations at 5 in the morning. When you come up with a perfectly reasonable excuse not to follow through on the promise you made to yourself. And the excuse is always reasonable. That's why it works. You will become emotionally stronger and understand what that really means in everyday life. You stop being the person who gets upset over everything, the person who loses an entire day because of one comment. The person who carries around something for 3 weeks that lasted only 30 seconds and that the other person forgot before the day was even over. You begin to take control of your own decisions. You'll make clear choices where you once reacted on impulse and then spent months, sometimes years, paying the price for 30 seconds of emotion. But the commitment I'm talking about isn't becoming a different person tomorrow morning. It's much smaller than that and far more powerful. It's the commitment to be today 1% better than you were yesterday. 1% is almost nothing. It's invisible. No one notices it, not even you. It doesn't make you feel proud. It isn't something you can post online. It doesn't feel like a victory, but repeated every single day, that almost nothing begins to accumulate. It multiplies. And eventually, it creates a gap that other people simply can't catch up to. And here's what almost no one realizes. You're already accumulating in some direction. There is no neutral. There is no pause. Every single day, you're becoming a little better or a little worse, a little stronger or a little weaker, a little closer or a little farther from the person you want to become. The question has never been whether you're changing. You are. The real question is, in which direction? And the cruelest part is that the wrong direction is invisible too. Getting 1% worse each day doesn't hurt either. You don't notice it on Wednesday. You notice it when you look at a picture from 3 years ago and you no longer recognize the energy of the person staring back at you. The Stoics had a name for this: constant progress. They didn't believe in sudden transformation. They didn't believe in instant enlightenment, a life-changing rock-bottom moment, or some magical day when a person wakes up completely different. They believed in daily progress, almost imperceptible, made by someone who corrects themselves a little every single day. Seneca wrote that we should demand a small improvement from ourselves every day. And every night before going to bed, he held himself accountable by asking, "What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What will I do differently tomorrow?" Notice that this wasn't self-punishment. It was maintenance. It's the difference between a man who hates himself and a man who takes care of himself. He understood something we keep forgetting. No one becomes wise all at once. You become wise one day at a time. And the difference between a meaningful life and a wasted one has never been a single heroic decision. It's found in the quiet repetition of the small ones. So make that agreement today, and make it with yourself without announcing it to anyone. Don't promise to change everything. Just promise that you won't back down. Promise that tomorrow you'll do one thing, just one thing, a little better than you did today. Then do it again and again. Even on the hard days, especially on the hard days, because that's when the agreement is truly tested, and you will fail. There will be days when you don't follow through. That doesn't break the agreement. The agreement is only broken on the day you stop coming back. Failing for one day is human. Giving up after you fail is a choice. Because the day you look back and see how far you've come, you'll realize something. There was never one giant leap. There was never one glorious turning point, one sentence that changed everything, one day you can point to. There were 1,000 ordinary mornings when you could have let yourself off the hook and you didn't. That's what builds a person, not talent, not luck, but the stubborn repetition of someone who decided not to back down. And that is entirely in your hands right now. Not tomorrow, right now, in the very first small choice that comes your way before this day is over. This is the first of 1,000 mornings. Action 4. Nothing outside of you deserves to control your mind. There is a quote Epictetus said nearly 2,000 years ago that remains one of the most radical things ever spoken about freedom. You may chain my leg, but not even Zeus has power over my choice. Hold on to that sentence, because the man who said it was not a comfortable philosopher talking about abstract ideas in a peaceful garden. Epictetus was born a slave. He was the legal property of another man. He had no right to his own body, his own time, or even his own name. And to make matters worse, he was tortured by his master. It is said that as his leg was being twisted until it broke, he calmly warned that it was going to give way. And when it finally did, he simply said, "Didn't I tell you?" Think about the depth of that. What is remarkable is not the emotional detachment, it is what it reveals. In that moment, his master controlled almost everything: his body, his fate, his pain, his future. Everything except one thing. And Epictetus knew exactly what that was. His leg was being broken, yet he remained the master of what he chose to think about it. In the most unlikely place on earth, he discovered the only territory no one has ever been able to invade, the space between what happens to you and what you decide to do about it. That space belongs to you. It always has. It does not depend on your paycheck. It does not depend on the season of life you are in, your luck, the people around you, the country you live in, or the year on the calendar. It exists right now inside you, untouched, because no one has ever been able to get there. And that is exactly why the sentence that opens this chapter is not poetry. What happens around you does not define who you are. It sounds like one of those inspirational quotes you hang on a wall until the day you truly understand it. Then it stops being beautiful and becomes a weapon. Because the moment you take control of your own mind, your environment stops controlling you. A difficult season stops being a life sentence and becomes a temporary condition. Circumstances stop being excuses and become nothing more than the ground you are standing on. They still exist. They still weigh on you. They are still unfair sometimes, but they no longer get the final word over your life. And this is not cheap optimism. No one is asking you to pretend everything is fine. Something much more concrete is being said. There is a place inside you that no circumstance can ever reach, and almost no one uses it because no one ever told them it existed. Now, with Epictetus in mind, here comes the uncomfortable question. If a man in chains managed to stay in command of his own mind, then what exactly is controlling yours? Answer with brutal honesty. How much of your attention is being dictated by things you cannot control? Someone's comment, a news story you could do nothing about, comparing your life to one you only see through a tiny window, a strange look from someone that might not even have been directed at you. Each of those things seems too small to be worth talking about, and that is exactly why they win. No one gives away their life all at once. They give it away in 15-minute pieces that seem too insignificant to matter. But add them all together, and they steal your entire day. And your days are the only raw material you have to build the life you want. No one builds a life with years. They build it with days. And if your days are being managed by whatever appears on your screen, then you are not the one doing the building. Chance is, and chance has no commitment to your future. This is where most people get it wrong. Absolute focus is not about ignoring the world. It is not indifference. It is not emotional coldness. It is not pretending nothing affects you. It is choosing where your attention will live, even when everything around you is screaming for a piece of it. It is waking up knowing what your battle is and refusing to fight all the others, even the ones that seem important, even the ones other people try to hand you disguised as emergencies, because the person who tries to respond to everything ends up building nothing. They stay busy their entire life and reach the end without having built a single thing that lasts. But the person who chooses one thing and defends it with everything they have becomes unstoppable. Not because they are more talented, but because while everyone else was dividing themselves across 20 different fronts, they kept striking the same spot every single day. And that is the most liberating part of all. You do not have to be a genius. You just have to become non-negotiable about one thing. So decide today what your one thing is and protect it the way you would protect a flame in the wind, with both hands, with your body turned against the gusts, knowing the wind has nothing against you personally. It is simply the wind. It blows against everyone. The difference is between the person who shields the flame and the one who lets it go out. The world is not going to cooperate. It is not going to become quieter. It is not going to ask your permission. It is not going to wait until you are ready. The notifications will not stop. Other people's opinions will not disappear. Their emergencies will keep showing up, demanding your attention. But none of that matters. Because the final say over where you place your mind has never belonged to the world. It never has. It has always belonged to you, even during all those years when you did not know it and believed you were a victim of your circumstances. You were never trapped. You were holding the key the whole time, standing in the dark, without realizing there was a door. And the day you take back that command, something happens that is difficult to explain to anyone who has never experienced it. You realize that the freedom you had been searching for out in the world had been just one step away all along, right here inside you. Just one step. And it begins the very next time something tries to hijack your attention, and you, for the first time in your life, realize there is a choice to make, and you choose. Action 5. The hardest part of growth is that it feels like failure. There is something no one warns you about when it comes to growth. You imagine it will be a line going up, slowly maybe, but still going up. And then you begin, and the line rises a little, stops, drops, stays flat for months, drops again. And at that point, almost everyone reaches the same quiet conclusion: I guess this is not for me. No, you are just in the part of the graph no one shows, because every story of growth you admire was told afterward, already cleaned up, already edited, already with a beginning, a middle, and a happy ending. No one talks about the 2 years in the middle when that person thought they had been wrong about everything. Have you ever been so frustrated with a problem that you seriously thought about giving up? A job you agreed to take on that turned out to be more difficult than you expected? A plan that did not work out? A door that closed exactly when you needed it most to stay open? Most people see those moments as a sign that they were supposed to stop, that the universe was trying to warn them, that maybe this was not the right path. The Stoics saw it in a completely different way, and that difference is what separates those who build from those who spend their entire lives starting over from nothing. To them, every difficulty is an opportunity in disguise. If one door closes, that does not mean the journey is over. It means the time has come to find another way in. When one door closes, another one opens. And the problem is that most people spend so much time staring at the closed door that they never turn their heads to look for the open one. The problem was never the existence of challenges. It was always the way we chose to face them, because every major breakthrough is born from an obstacle, without exception. Think about that for a moment, calmly. An athlete does not become stronger without resistance. It is the weight they lift against what the body wants that builds the muscle. A musician does not improve their craft without making hundreds of mistakes in front of their instrument. A mind does not expand without being challenged by something it does not yet know how to solve. Notice the pattern. In none of these cases does growth come from comfort. It comes from exactly what, in that moment, seems like an obstacle. In other words, you're not being blocked, you're being built. But being built hurts just like being blocked, and that is why it is so easy to confuse the two. When something does not go as planned, there are only two real options: complain or learn. The Stoics chose to learn. Every time, not because they were cold or insensitive, but because they understood something practical. Complaining uses exactly the same energy as learning and gives nothing back. To them, every problem carries a lesson within it. Every setback strengthens character. Every difficult moment is resilience training you did not ask for, but that you will need later. And that does not mean romanticizing pain. It does not mean looking for suffering or pretending that losing is good. That is not what it means. It means that instead of complaining about challenges, you can use them as fuel. Anger can become motivation. Rejection can ignite a kind of growth that praise never could. Failure can teach you in one afternoon what success would take 10 years to show you. Because the difference between those who grow with life and those who remain paralyzed by it has never been what those people face. Everyone faces hard things. The difference lies entirely in how they respond. Look at the case of Walt Disney. Because of contractual issues, he lost the rights to his first characters and his earliest creations. He did not lose them because of incompetence. He lost them because of the fine print, in that unfair kind of way that makes you never want to trust anyone again. He could have been intimidated. He could have become consumed by the injustice, and he would have had every reason to. He could have given up right there and told that story for the rest of his life as the explanation for why things did not work out. A lot of people do that. And honestly, it is understandable, but he chose a different path. Instead of holding on to what he had lost, he used the situation as momentum to create something even greater. Mickey Mouse was born from that crisis, and with him, a creative empire that revolutionized the world of animation. Now think about what that truly means. Mickey only exists because someone took away what he had already built. The loss was not a detour in the story. The loss was the beginning of it. That does not mean we will never suffer again, or that we will stop feeling disappointed. We will. When you begin to believe more in what you have inside you than in what happens outside, your entire perception of life shifts. The same facts, exactly the same ones, begin to mean something different. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Let that settle in. The obstacle is not the end of the line. It is the beginning of a new strategy. It is the information you didn't have, but needed. If something is stopping your progress right now, maybe it is time to change your approach, to look for another solution, or even to understand that the obstacle itself is already the lesson you were missing. Growth is not always moving upward. It is continuing when the line goes down. Everyone can handle the climb. Character is decided in the flat stretches, in those months when you do everything right and nothing appears. That is where it is determined who makes it. Life will test your resilience. That is guaranteed. It is not a threat. It is simply how it works. But the decision about what to do with the test has always been yours. And I want you to think about one thing first. One day, maybe 3 years from now, maybe 10, someone will look at you and say that you were lucky, that things were easier for you, that you were always this way, and only you will know the truth. Only you will remember this period, this exact moment when the line was going down, when no one was applauding, when there was no proof that it would work out and you kept going anyway. No one will ever see this part. There is no audience here. That is why it matters more than all the others. Because the person you will admire in yourself one day is being built now, exactly where it hurts. So think about that barrier in front of you. You know exactly what it is. You probably thought about it 3 times while listening to me. It did not come to stop you. It came to ask you who you are. You'll give your answer tomorrow morning. When no one is watching, no one will know, no one will applaud. And you do it anyway. Because this is what almost no one understands about getting through a difficult period. From the inside, it does not feel heroic. There is no clarity. There is no soundtrack. There is no certainty that it is worth it. From the inside, it is just a tired person doing the right thing one more time on an ordinary day, with no guarantee that it will lead anywhere. There is no immediate reward in that. That is exactly why most people stop. And that is exactly why continuing means so much. Because every time you do the work on a day when you did not feel like it, you prove something to yourself that no external circumstance can prove for you, that your word carries weight. That what you agree to do with yourself, you follow through on. And a person who trusts their own word is difficult to knock down, not because life hits them less, but because they know what they are made of. That confidence never comes from victory. It comes from here, from the days when it would have been easier to stop and you did not stop. And that is why the obstacle is not what gets in the way of the path. It is where the path truly happens. Without the obstacle, you might have reached the destination without becoming a stronger person, and reaching a new place without growing along the way is the only real way to lose. One day you will look back and you will not remember the results. You will remember who you had to be to reach them, and you will understand that the most valuable thing you built was never on the outside. It was the person who learned not to back down. That person is being built right now. During this season of your life, without an audience, without proof, without applause, so that barrier in front of you did not come to stop you. It came to show you who you are when things get hard. And you give the answer tomorrow morning. Even without motivation, even without certainty, even tired. Do it, because that is how, and only that way, someone becomes a person who trusts their own word. At Stoic House, we believe that true wisdom never grows old. If this message touched your heart, like this video, share it with the people you love, and subscribe to our channel to continue this journey with us. See you soon.